right, some of you may remember right before we left Argentina, we got a chip in our windshield, so we're over here trying to get a little quote to see how much. The problem is they tell us if they can repair the chip, but it'll still be visible, which means you'd always see it on our dash cam. So we're gonna get a quote to see what it would cost to replace it. All right, they wanted, get this, $850 to change out the window. I guess it's about $350 for the window itself. Oh, you got G. But it's $350 for labor because they say they need 2 people to do it. So anyway, I think we're gonna go get some fingernail polish.
Let's try to fix it ourselves.
Yeah, the chip is the only thing is really the aesthetics of it. It bothers us a little bit, but it's in the dash cam, but we can't afford $800 right now, so we're gonna try to look for another solution.
All right, let's do it.
We are on a mission today. Snow is at the wheel. So the deal is with the rental camper, we only had one driver. It's like 25 bucks a day to put a second driver. So I've been driving ever since we've been in Europe, and now Snow's driving, I'm passenging, and we're trying to go to an auto parts store to see if we can find something to fix the windshield, and it doesn't cost so much, super pricey, and also maybe clean up this toxic spill on the van. And so we're running around doing some chores, but I gotta tell you, Belgium is pretty unique with their architecture, and I'm really stunned at how sort of modern and new all the houses and buildings are. And when you come in these little townships or these little cities, it's all like zero lot line, meaning all the houses or apartments or condos are all butted up right up against one another, and they're on the road, and the lanes are kind of super small, and all of a sudden you'll be coming up in the lane and they've taken part of it for parking, and so all of a sudden the 1-lane road turns in, or 2-lane road turns into a 1-lane road. So anyway, it's pretty unique. I think we've already shared with you that winter is rapidly approaching. The leaves have changed colors, and so there's still some on the trees, but most of them are falling away. This is the first day where it looks like maybe we're not going to get rain, even though it's overcast and foggy. The forecast is calling for a couple days, so we're going to try to get some chores done. And also we have to wait to get our EU passports for the kitty cats. So we kind of got to stick around in this area, which was not part of the original plan. So we need to figure out what we're going to do. But we're enjoying just kind of tooling around, exploring Belgium and being back in the house. And I'm enjoying being a passenger.
Yeah, and Curt mentioned the European Union pet passport. Now, you guys back in the States or over in Latin America may not know what that means, but every time we've crossed a border up until we got to Europe, we've had to do pet export papers, which means a trip to the vet and all of that kind of stuff. Well, what the EU does, which is the majority of mainland Europe is included in that, not all countries, but most, is if you have an EU pet passport, then you can just freely cross all these borders and still be in complete compliance with all of the pet travel regulations. Now, it's kind of tricky on getting it or not getting it, and we think we've found a way to do it, so y'all keep your fingers crossed that works out, because it'll make our life much easier, and the kitties' lives much easier over here, and we'll find out more about that hopefully tomorrow.
Welcome to the auto parts store here in Belgium. We're not in a developing country anymore. This place is developed, and we've driven through here, driving through here, we've seen all sorts of huge manufacturing factories and businesses, and it is just different than, not so different than the US, but different than what we've seen in a long time, right, Snow? There's so much stuff, so many choices. We can even get some paints here, touch-up paints. I do need to get some anti-rust stuff, but I don't see anything to fix windshields.
All right, we couldn't find auto chip glass repair, but we did find something else we need, and that's new windshield wipers. But we need to see if they're gonna fit. Let's see. Anna, we're getting new windshield wipers. What do you think? Woo! We got success, guys. So the guy at the auto parts store told us that just down the road there was a place that worked on cars, glass, so we'll see if we get a better price here.
I couldn't understand a word he said.
Okay.
And he didn't speak any English, so I don't know. All right, we have a little construction project here. They have some traffic markers here and a little kind of gate fence the area off. They're doing some widening, and I also saw some like curbstones that they're setting in there. And they even have, look at traffic signals, arrow boards, and look at all this.
This is even more than we do in the States, I think.
This is a lot. A lot of these little scooters around. We need to get one of those, Snow.
We do need a scooter, don't we?
What are you doing, Snow?
We're having chili in the van. After being out of it for 5 or 6 weeks, it is our first meal back in the van. It's one of my favorite meals. It's chili. It even has chili with macaroni noodles in it, with some crackers and a little dollop of cream cheese. And I am appreciating the big sink that I'm going to get to wash dishes in, because we've had that little tiny sink. And it's raining outside. It's chilly. We're parked in a little wild camping spot next to a little city park. And things just couldn't be better. I mean, we're not doing anything exciting, but we are living in our van, and that makes me happy.
Oh, and by the way, our first rainy day was a flop. It did start raining, so we're hunkered down again, but we do have a nice little walk we can do right here outside of our campsite if the weather clears.
Some sort of fort or something.
So we'll see what happens, guys. All right, everyone. Welcome to our first wild camp spot. Since we've been in Europe, we have our van. We're no longer dependent on electricity and all the other stuff you need from a campground, so we're pretty self-sufficient.
Look at these beautiful leaves.
And Snow found us a really nice park spot here. It's next to a park, and there's these forts, and we saw them online, and the forts basically kind of surround Antwerp. And if you guys know anything about Belgium, Belgium basically is that a woodpecker?
What?
Right up above us,
Yeah.
right there.
No. Yeah, it's got a white head.
And if you guys know anything about Belgium, Belgium has been really pummeled in both World War I and World War II. And it's just been a battle zone, and this fort, no doubt, was built to protect Antwerp. Now, we don't know the history of them, but we do know from seeing them on the map that they kind of surround the city. We'll try to learn more and show you. But one thing that's unique is they have, like Snow just said, they have moats. So anyway, it's really pretty. It's misting a little bit. It's been cloudy and cool, but we're happy to finally get out in the nature.
We were gonna bring the big camera. It had quit raining for like 30 minutes, and we were gonna bring the big camera to get some of the ducks, and we would have got a woodpecker, but it started misting.
So I'll try to sneak out here when it's not raining and get some shots. but I believe that's a mallard duck right there, a big old male. And there's a bunch of them around here just gnawing on the duckweed. And there's also something which I call coots. I'll find out the actual technical name, but they're the blackbirds with the white beaks, and you might hear them kind of chirping. They like to talk, kind of like G-Money. But this is the moat right here, so I think the fort is kind of inside here, inside this half semicircle moat. Look at the big leaves on that tree up there. Oh, there's some different ducks up here. Alright, so these ducks kind of have white wings and brown heads. So definitely different. I don't know what kind of ducks these are. So much to learn, so many new things, guys. Wow. It's pretty with the fall colors. And all the ducks and waterfowl just coming along here, skimming what I guess is duckweed, floating on top. All right, guys, snow's gonna get a little adventurous here. You're gonna go on this little zip line we found along here.
I don't know.
Oh, does it go any lower? Oh, it looks to be a challenge. Oh. Whoa, she fell! Oh, she bit it! Oh no! Oh! In van life, that is not good because she just soiled her britches.
Much to my advice not to do this, Curt seems to want to get as dirty as me. Oh!
All the way!
Uh-oh, your butt's gonna drag! Your butt's gonna drag!
And that, my friends, is how it's done. There's a little stone wall out there across the moat. I think on that little island out there is actually where the fort is. I asked the name of the game. I think they said badonk. Badonk? Badonk? Anyway, they gave me about 3 different names in different languages. So I was trying to remember them all. Instead I remembered none. But it was still pretty cool. It kind of reminded me of bocce ball. But they had this hoop they put around for scoring. So anyway, they were having fun and I was having fun watching them. But what a beautiful park. I think we're probably to the end. Doesn't look like we're gonna make it to the fort today. But nonetheless, we had a beautiful walk out in the beautiful nature. The rain did hold off. I'm so sad I didn't bring the camera. But it's been a beautiful stroll through the forest. Right, Snow?
Yeah, it was nice. The leaves falling so slowly every time the wind kind of gently blows. It's very peaceful, which after the stressful few weeks we've been through, this is a nice little spot. We may not be hitting the road, running, touring all the crazy spots in Europe, but we're getting our van legs back. This was a good spot to do after we ran a bunch of errands.
We have some big adventures around the corner.
We're
Don't worry
resting
about
up.
that.
Don't worry.
They have the coolest bikes here, and it is a huge biking culture. But these are my favorite. You see the little kids in there, and they got the little covered things. And then so many of the bikes have little, what do you call them, satchels or side bags.
I said it earlier, now I can't remember.
Side bags.
Saddlebags.
Saddlebags. But anyway, it is a huge biking culture here. All right, I have a confession to make. And for those of you who've been following along and gotten to know us, we are glad you're here on the journey with us. We're glad you've gotten to know us, but you probably already know we are linguistically challenged. We struggle with our Spanish. We struggled more with our Portuguese in Brazil.
Their English.
But here Here we're really struggling because in Belgium they speak different languages. Like I think there's German, Dutch, and even Flemish or another language. We don't even know what all the languages are called. And as we move through Europe, there's gonna be so many more languages to deal with. And to be honest with you, you know, when we were listening to Spanish and Portuguese, we could kind of pick up some words. We are lost now, and we don't even know how to say, I'm sorry, we don't speak Spanish, lo siento, no hablo español, or no falo Portuguese, because we don't know what the language is. So we don't even know how to say, we don't know how to speak your language.
It would be like if there were 3 different languages in the state of Rhode Island. Different corners speak different things, and so it's a mess.
I feel so bad because I always like to at least speak a few words and apologize that we don't speak their language, but the reality is we don't even know what language they're speaking to us sometimes. So, oh boy, this should be interesting. Fortunately, most of the time we can find somebody who speaks English, so
yeah,
all good. Yep.
We're almost back to the van, we think. And I wanted to pop in and tell you guys that in Europe, maybe not all the countries, but quite a few of the countries that we've discovered in our research, in the inner cities, in the metro areas of the larger cities, they're very big on the environment and emissions control. You have to have stickers on your vehicles to go into certain parts of town to prove that your vehicle doesn't put off too much emissions. And I think that has started to drive, maybe not, maybe the bikes came first, but I think that's probably pushing the heavy biking culture here, because in some parts of these cities might be literally the only way you can get there on your own without taking public transportation. And the bikers definitely seem to have the right of way. Even the pedestrians seem to step to the side when they're coming. So I paid attention to that, and now I know I'm not gonna play chicken with any bicycles around here. But I thought that was interesting. We've been gone from the States for a long time. Maybe some of the bigger cities in the States are starting to do something similar. But emissions control in Europe is a big deal.
Hey. Hello guys. Hello guys.
So where are you guys from?
Belgium. Antwerp. No.
Here is our other kitty cat. He's a little shy.
Oh, so cute.
Is it a male or a
This is a male. His name is G.
G.
The one in the window, her name is Vanna.
I love her. She's my best friend. I was still
Was she playing?
yeah.
All right, it's a beautiful morning out here. I can tell you it's foggy. It got down to 39 last night. That's as cold as we've seen it. But I wanted to sneak out here and get you some of these water birds today. And I've seen some other birds. I think I saw a cedar waxwing, but it was a long ways away. Oh, look at these. Hold on, I gotta try to get these. I saw some squirrels. In any event, I saw these squirrels around these trees, and it was cool because they were scampering just around, like side to side, not like you'd normal run forward. And they're still there. I think they got a nest up top, but they hide on the other side of the tree, so if I were to go around, they just kind of hide behind me. But they have pointy ears like Batman, and they're cool.
All right, we have left our campsite that was filled up with all those amazing birds. We still have a few more errands to get done before we can leave the Antwerp area, mainly dealing with hopefully getting the European Union pet passport for the kitties. We'll know about that in a little while, but it's not quite time to head to the vet, so we are doing a few little odds and ends. Curt has gone up there to get a new lens cap cover for our big camera. We had lost that in Brazil and had been covering it up with a sock, so hopefully he can pick one of those up. Then we need to go to the Aldi grocery store and restock up all of our cleaning supplies. I've been having to wash dishes with without a sponge or any kind of thing actually having to use my hands. So it's definitely time to get some cleaning supplies back in the van. And then we may swing by a pet store and see if we can find little sweaters or sweatshirts or jackets or something for Vanna and G, because it's definitely colder here, but they still like their walks. So we'll be looking into seeing if we can find anything fun for them, and then finding out if they'll even wear it. So it's still errands day, but once we finally do leave here, we will hit the ground running with some exciting things, guys. But making this move requires extra errands.
Found it.
Woohoo! Success!
I will tell you one thing. Everything's expensive in Europe, but at least you can find it. You can find everything. We had a hard time finding these before we left Argentina. I'm sure they have them, but here it's pretty easy. Just type in camera store and they're all over the place.
We've got all of our errands done. We're in the van. And we thought this was a good time to kind of try to tell you a little bit about our plan to tour around Europe. Now, one of the first things you need to know is this is not a 6-month tour. This will be 2 to 4 years. You guys know we travel slow, and we're gonna take you to all the cool places that we can possibly find. But there are some tricks and some stuff that you have to deal with when you're in Europe.
Definitely logistical challenges.
Yes, there is. Now, one of the first things is right now we are southbound because we are way up north in Belgium, and it is winter time.
Cold.
It is cold, and a lot of Europe is actually cold in the wintertime. It is a bit farther north than you might think if you live over in the States. We will be spending a lot of time in the south when it is wintertime, and in the north when it is summertime. And that's the first challenge, is the weather in Europe. A lot of you have warned us about it, and we knew about it. We prepared the van for freezing temperatures. We did that before we left South America. But even if the van is prepared for it, living in really harsh, cold weather in a van is not pleasant. So we will try to avoid that.
In addition to the weather, there's another challenge, or something that you might not think about, and that is the size of Europe. And so Europe as a whole, as a continent as a whole, is about the size of the United States or about the size of Brazil. So that's a continent compared to a country. Now there's 45 countries in Europe. And so we have to cross, so it's not like we're just coming to a country. We actually came to a continent. And so it creates some natural challenges of crossing borders and things like that. And along with that, Snow, there's some other challenges with migration and border crossings and things like that, right?
Yeah, there's something over here called the Schengen zone. So a lot of people think when you go to Europe, you're dealing with the EU, the European Union. And you are with a lot of the logistical stuff, but when it comes to being a person, a tourist, entering over here in the European continent, you have to deal with the Schengen zone, and that is several countries, 27 countries. 27 countries, yeah, 27 countries of all of the European countries have joined this kind of visa alliance. And what it means is you can travel freely around, like crossing a state border when you're in the Schengen. You can go from France to Germany to Belgium all in one day, and nobody's really going to stop you and check on anything. But you can only stay in the Schengen zone as a tourist, and we're from the United States, so these are our rules, but it's pretty much the set rules for most people that come here, for 90 days. So 3 months we can stay in here before we have to leave. Now, the big difference about this area is when we leave, we have to leave for 90 days. We can't just cross over out of this zone and, you know, spend a few nights and come back in. And it's called the Schengen Shuffle for long-term travelers over here. So, you know, of course, we're showing you some maps right now on the screen to kind of help make a little bit more sense. But we'll spend, you know, 60 to 90 days within this zone, and then we will leave.
Now, one of the things to know is over here, there's kind of 3 main areas that are not in the Schengen. So when we have to leave the Schengen, we'll go to those 3 areas. The first area, which is where we're kind of headed now, is in Eastern Europe. So think about the Balkan states like Albania, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Montenegro, Turkey, and there's a handful of other states out there that are not in the Schengen.
Yeah.
And additionally, the UK is not in the Schengen. So we can go to the UK and to Scotland and out there for 90 days to sort of reset our time. And Snow, there's one more. What area is that?
The other one is Morocco and a couple of other northwestern states, or countries in Africa.
North Africa.
So we will be zigzagging literally all across Europe doing the Schengen shuffle. So you will not see us enter France and stay there for 3 months, and then go into Germany and stay there for 3 months like we've been doing in Latin America. It's not possible if you are staying in compliance with the visa rules. So it's kind of complicated, guys. It's something we've been studying for years, actually, preparing for this. So we don't expect you to grasp the thought of it right away. Just know that it's going to be a little bit different how we travel over here. And when you go into our playlists over on our YouTube channel, you will not see France and see all the videos from France, because we will probably go in and out of France multiple different times. So you're probably going to see our playlist broken up by time periods, based on the Schengen shuffle. Don't forget, our plans can always change, but we have a ton of you asking, what is the European plan? It is going to be the Schengen shuffle, and it starts with heading south towards France, and it is Christmas time. We're going to take y'all to a very special place before we run really fast from the weather, down to the French Riviera. We will cut across northern Italy, through Slovenia, through a little bit of Croatia, where we will pop into Eastern Europe, Bosnia, Montenegro, and Albania. That should be our next 4 to 6 months. We'll see how it goes. All right, so it is dark. It gets dark really early here in Belgium, and it's also freezing cold. We just checked the weather, and this region of Europe should be getting snow early next week. We gotta get south. But first, we're back at the campsite where we were waiting on the ship to come in. And we're back here because while we were here, right up here at the top of the hill, just outside of this campground, there is a vet. And that's where we started the process of trying to get European pet passports. So I didn't film the vet appointments, honestly, because it was raining and I was just trying to hurry back and forth to the campers with the kitties without them getting wet. So, but just know, very nice man. His name's Eric, and I believe his house is on the 2nd floor and the vet office is on the bottom floor, and he works kind of part-time. He was very nice. He made lots of phone calls trying to figure out how to help a tourist get a pet passport in Europe for 2 cats. And we think we've done it. There's just one final step of getting them actually in a computer system. And that's kind of more like a lost and found thing. He's made several phone calls today, and they told him that at the borders, this should be all we need. And the kitties are all up to date on their vaccines and their paperwork. So with that, guys, that's where we're gonna wind this video down. First thing in the morning, you will see this van hitting the road for something besides just errands and moving in and out of it. We'll be doing some adventuring. So let's go, guys. See you in a few days. Cheers. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you guys know when we put out new videos. And don't forget, you can always follow us over on Instagram to see what's going on in between videos. Cheers, guys.